The weight on the back. The helmet was still on the back of the bike when I pulled into Uniondale at 2 a.m. The chin strap was fastened from the inside. I know because I checked it 3 times before I accepted what that meant. Let me back up. I've been riding long hauls since I was 26, 10 years of night runs, back roads, packages that don't have return addresses, clients who pay in cash and ask no questions. You learn things on this job that nobody teaches you in training. You learn which roads have memory. You learn which stretches of highway feel fine on the way out and wrong on the way back. You learn that there's a difference between a road that's dangerous and a road that's hungry. The N9 through the Eastern Cape is the second kind. I'd avoided it for 3 years. Specifically, I'd avoided the stretch between Ochorn and Uniondale, the Valley Corridor, the plateau, the dark, flat scrubland where the road goes so straight for so long that your headlight starts to feel like the only real thing in the world. 3 years ago, my cousin Sifo rode that stretch and didn't come home. I told myself I wasn't available that night. I had another job, I said, something local. I let it sit in my head as a near miss. I almost took that run, because the alternative was admitting that I'd felt something wrong about it from the moment the dispatch call came in, and that I'd said nothing and let Sifo take it instead. He trusted me completely. He always did. That was his whole personality, Sifo, warm and easy, and convinced that things would work out, because they always had, because he moved through the world like it meant him well. The N9 didn't mean him well. The official finding was weather. Flash flooding on the plateau stretch, visibility near zero, a section of road that washed out so fast there wasn't time to stop. His bike was found in the valley below the shoulder. They couldn't tell me much else. I stopped trusting my instincts after that. Every time something felt wrong, I rode straight into it. Punishment, I suppose. Proof that my instincts were broken, that they'd gotten Sifo killed, that they deserved to be ignored. Then the N9 job came in. It sat in the dispatch queue for 3 days. I watched it. I watched other couriers glance at it and look away. Triple rate. The kind of pay you only see when nobody with sense will touch the job. Night run. Ouchhorn to Uniondale with a package that had to arrive by dawn. The sender's address was listed as a kilometer marker on the N9. I noticed that. I told myself it was a typo, a data entry error, someone putting the pickup location in the wrong field. I took the job. I didn't let myself think about why. The last stop before the dark stretch is a petrol station that sits at the junction like it's been waiting there since the road was built. No name on the sign anymore. The letters faded out years ago and nobody replaced them. The kind of place that runs on habit and the absence of alternatives. The attendant was a man named Deon Botha. I know because I'd stopped there once before, years ago on a day run. He looked the same. Same deep creases in his face, same slow way of moving, like a man who had decided a long time ago that hurrying changed nothing. He filled my tank without being asked. I didn't question it. When you're the only vehicle at a petrol station at 11:30 at night on the N9, the attendant knows you need fuel. He didn't say anything for a while, just worked the pump, checked the pressure on my rear tire, wiped something off the headlight casing with a cloth. Then, without looking at me, he said, "Owls have been gathering out near the valley turnoff. 3 nights now." I looked at him. "Same spot," he said. "Every night." My grandmother had told me about owls. She was Josa from the coast, and she knew things about birds the way some people know things about weather. Not from books, but from years of watching what happened after. She used to say that owls don't gather without reason. They're not social birds. When you see more than one in the same tree, something drew them there. She called them Death's advance scouts. I almost asked Dion what he meant. He gave me the change and stepped back and looked at the road heading east, and there was something in the way he looked at it. Not fear exactly, more like a man who has stood at a window watching the same storm come in so many times that he's past being surprised. Just watching, just noting. I didn't ask. I should have asked. The rain started 20 kilometers past the station. Not gradually, all at once, the way eastern Cape storms come off the Outeniqua Mountains. 1 second the road was dry and starlit. The next, the rain was coming in from the left in solid curtains, and my world compressed down to a headlight tunnel cutting through absolute dark. The smell came with it. Wet scrub, red earth, the particular damp cold of a plateau at altitude. The kind of smell that reaches the back of your throat and stays. I slowed down. Not much. Enough to be sensible. I know this road, I told myself. I've done worse in worse weather. That was a lie. I hadn't done this road. I'd been avoiding this road. The lightning came in flashes behind the mountains, lighting up nothing that helped, just the silhouettes of ridgelines and the flat scrubland stretching away on both sides, and the road ahead going straight and empty and long. I tapped the fuel tank twice with 2 fingers. I didn't notice I was doing it until I'd done it. Sipho's habit. He used to do it when he was making a decision he wasn't certain about, tapping the tank like he was feeling for something solid. I'd started doing it somewhere in the 3 years after the funeral and never managed to stop. The road bent slightly to the right around a low rise, and that's when I saw her. She was standing on the verge, facing the direction I'd come from. Yellow dress, no jacket, no bag, no umbrella, nothing. Just a yellow dress in the rain, soaked flat against her, and she wasn't moving. She wasn't flagging me down. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking back down the road, at the dark I'd come through, as if trying to see something in it. My first instinct was practical. Stranded woman, safety issue. Middle of nowhere, middle of the night, no signal for 40 kilometers in either direction. Whatever else was going on, I couldn't leave a person standing on the N9 in a rainstorm. I stopped. She turned when she heard the engine, walked toward me without hurrying. Late 20s, early 30s, pale. But it was night and raining, so that told me nothing. Her face was calm in a way that wasn't exactly reassuring. Not the calm of someone rescued, the calm of someone who had said the same thing many times and knew what was coming next. "I need you to turn around," she said. I said, "Are you hurt? Do you need—" "I need you to turn around," she said again. Same tone, patient, worn smooth, like a message repeated until the edges went round. "There's nothing behind me," I said. "The station's about 20 kilometers. I can take you—" "Turn around," she said. I looked at her. Yellow dress. Rain pouring off her like she was standing in a shower. No goosebumps that I could see, and no puddle forming at her feet, I noticed. The road was slick and running with water, and where I was standing there was standing water everywhere, but directly where she stood, the tarmac looked dry. I told myself it was the angle of the headlight. "I have a delivery in Uniondale," I said. "I'll take you with me, get you somewhere warm, but I can't turn around." She looked at me for a long moment. There was no frustration in it, no urgency, just consideration, like she was calculating something. "All right," she said, "then I'll come with you." She climbed on the back. The suspension shifted. I felt it. The bike settling under real weight, maybe 55 kilograms, maybe 60. The warmth of someone's body at my back, arms finding my jacket. Real, completely real. And the smell. Rain first, cold earth, the kind of smell that's underneath everything else out here. And then, faintly, something else. Something I recognized before I could name it. A specific motor oil smell, Slightly sweet, slightly sharp. The brand Sifo had always used. Not because he was sponsored or recommended it, just because he'd tried it once and liked it and never switched. I told myself I was imagining it. I focused on the road. We rode for 7 kilometers without a word. The rain got heavier. Lightning struck somewhere close enough that I felt the charge in the air before the light. The storm was building ahead of us now. I could see it as a denser darkness on the horizon, the clouds thicker, the lightning inside them rather than above them. Wrong, something in me said. The storm is moving against the wind. I didn't let myself think about that. Your cousin came through here too. Her voice right at my ear, above the rain and the engine. My hands tightened on the bars. What? 3 years ago. Same road. Same night run. A pause. I tried to stop him. The cold that settled at the base of my skull had nothing to do with the rain. Who told you about my cousin? My voice came out steady, profession talking. Nobody told me, she said. I was here. I didn't answer that. I kept writing. The rational part of my brain, the part that had been running the show for 3 years, the part that had decided gut feelings were unreliable and should be punished, was still looking for an explanation. Someone who worked the road, someone who'd heard about the accident, someone who knew Sifo, knew me, knew the courier networks. The warmth at my back was entirely real. The smell of his motor oil was entirely real. The storm ahead was doing something weather doesn't do. It was moving toward us. Not drifting, not spreading, tracking. The center of it, the dense black mass where the lightning was brightest, was staying directly ahead of my headlight beam, shifting when I shifted, maintaining its position like something keeping pace. My grandmother had told me about the Incanyamba. She told me the way she told me about owls, not like folklore, not like something to be noted and filed away, like something to know, like something that could matter. A great serpentine thing that moved through storms, she said, that claimed territory in rivers and deep pools and the valleys between mountains. That didn't like intrusion. That was drawn to light in darkness the way certain creatures are drawn to heat, not to be near it, but to put it out. I'd never seen anything that made me think of that story. Until now. You need to turn around. Her grip on my jacket tightened. Not desperate, deliberate, like someone bracing. I know you have a delivery. I know you need the money. But whatever is in that package isn't worth what's ahead of you. What's ahead of me? She didn't answer right away. Then, something old and very large, and it has been waiting in that valley for longer than either of us has been alive. The road straightened out toward the plateau. The headlight tunnel stretched ahead, and at the far end of it, maybe 3 kilometers out, the storm had built into something that no longer looked like weather. It was a wall, a solid wall of rain and wind and pressure, and inside it, in the lightning flashes, I could see the shape of something moving, not moving with the storm, moving inside it, something vast and coiled and wrong. I tapped the fuel tank with 2 fingers, my cousin's habit, my habit now. Turn back, I thought. Turn back right now. And for the first time in 3 years, I almost listened. But I thought of Sifo, of the ease with which I'd handed him that run, of the way he'd said, "Sure, no problem, you rest," without asking why I was calling so late, without questioning, because he trusted me. And I thought, nothing I can turn away from matters anymore. I've already let the worst thing happen. What's left to protect? I kept riding. The storm hit without warning, not the rain. I was already soaked through. The force of it. I felt my front tire go light for a second, the crosswind catching the bike sideways, and I put my knee out instinctively and corrected, and then the rain was so thick I couldn't see the road surface. I slowed to walking pace. Slower. The headlight tunnel collapsed to a meter, then less. The engine coughed. I'd checked the fuel at the station. I had more than 3/4 of a tank. Engines don't cough on a full tank on a flat road in rain. There is no mechanical reason for it. It coughed again, then died. The headlight went out. Darkness that swallowed everything. I mean complete, total. The kind of dark that makes you question whether your eyes are open. The rain hammering my helmet was the only sound. I sat on the dead bike in the middle of the N9, and I could not see my own hands on the handlebars. In the darkness ahead, the lightning came. One long, sustained flash, the kind that lasts half a second, and in that half second I saw it. The road in front of me was gone. Not washed out, not flooded, gone. The tarmac ended and there was nothing. Just the storm and the valley below and inside the storm, illuminated for that half second, something massive and coiling and there. Not an impression, not a shape I imagined in the dark. A body that was dozens of meters long, moving through the storm like it was at home in it, like the storm was part of it, like the two were the same thing. Then the lightning ended and the dark came back, and I was sitting on a dead motorcycle with no road in front of me. The warmth at my back was gone. I reached back. The helmet was there. My hand found the chin strap. I traced it, fastened from the inside. I don't know how long I sat there. Not long. My hands were shaking and the cold was deep, and I was starting to lose fine motor control in my fingers. At some point, my brain switched from process what just happened to survive right now, and survival was simpler. I got the bike started on the third try. The road behind me was intact. I turned around. But first, and I don't know why I did this, maybe some instinct I hadn't managed to kill yet, I checked the delivery paperwork in my tank bag. Courier company envelope, standard format. Package specs, weight, fragile marking, nothing unusual. The recipient's name and address on the label? The recipient's name was Sifo Dlamini, my cousin's name. His last known address, the flat in Belleville he'd been renting when he died 3 years ago. I sat in the rain on the shoulder of the N9 and my hands stopped working for a moment. Just stopped. I couldn't feel the paperwork. I couldn't feel the rain. My lungs kept doing their job, but I wasn't involved in it. Someone had hired me specifically. Not just anyone on the dispatch list, me. They'd put my dead cousin's name on the delivery address, and the sender address was a kilometer marker on the N9, and the job had sat in the queue for exactly 3 days while the owls gathered and no one else had touched it. Maria Rue had appeared at the side of the road, in the rain, telling me to turn around for exactly the same reason she'd appeared to every other driver she'd ever flagged down on this stretch of highway. Not because she haunts it, because she works it, because she has been working it, alone for 58 years, trying to intercept the same trap she couldn't outrun herself. And I thought, she tried to stop Sifo. She said she was there. She said she tried. Something had sent him 3 years ago. Someone had put his name on a delivery. Someone had wanted him specifically on that road, in that valley, in the storm. She tried, and she was too late, or he didn't stop, or he stopped and didn't listen. And Sifo, warm, trusting Sifo who always thought things would be fine, rode forward into the dark. I found the back road to Uniondale on my phone the moment I got signal, about 15 kilometers east of the valley. The back road added 40 minutes. I took it. I stopped once on the way. I pulled over, took the package out of my rear pannier, and set it on the gravel shoulder. I'd brought a lighter from force of habit. I smoke 1 cigarette a year at New Year's, a leftover tradition from a relationship that ended years ago, but I still carry the lighter. I burned the package without opening it. I watched it until there was nothing left but black curling ash and the smell of burnt cardboard and something underneath it, something that smelled briefly, wrongly, like turned earth and old water. The ash blew off the shoulder and into the scrub, and I rode the rest of the way to Uniondale. I reached Uniondale at 2 in the morning. The town was quiet and cold and normal in the way that small towns are at that hour. Completely still, every light either off or the yellow of a street lamp. I sat in the parking lot of a closed grocery store and let the shaking work itself out of my hands. Then I called the dispatcher. They had no record of who called the job in. The original booking call, not the entry in the system, the actual phone call, came from a number that wasn't in the client database. The dispatcher said she'd flag it, run it through the billing system, find out who the account belonged to. 2 days later, she called me back. The number traced to a landline, disconnected. The record showed it had been in service until 1969. The courier company closed my account for refusing a delivery. Formal notice, standard procedure, no exceptions for circumstances. 10 years of reliable work, and I was out because I'd burned a package on the side of a road in the Eastern Cape at 1 in the morning. I didn't fight it. At dawn, I drove back. I don't know exactly why. Something unfinished. Something I needed to put down before I could carry anything else. Dayon Botha was behind the counter when I walked in. He looked at me the way a man looks at something he wasn't certain he'd see again. No surprise, just relief. Quiet and controlled, the kind a person learns to feel privately after enough time. He made coffee. He didn't say anything until he put it in front of me. "You came back," he said. "I came back." "The ones who make it back?" He stopped, picked up his own mug. "In 22 years. The ones who come back, Maria spoke to them, by name." I thought about that. She said my name. He nodded. "The ones she couldn't reach in time," I said. "She never named them." "No. She knew my cousin," I said. "She tried to stop him." Dion looked at me steadily. The morning light was just starting to come through the window, thin and gray and cold. "She tries every time." We didn't say anything for a while after that. Here's what I know now, 3 months later. I know that the storm on the N9 is not random weather. I know it moves against the wind and tracks headlights and has its origin in the deep pool in the valley below the plateau, and that what moves inside it has been there much longer than the road has. I know that someone, something, has been sending couriers, truck drivers, solo travelers, anyone they can catch, down that stretch after dark, with package addresses belonging to the dead, with sender addresses that don't exist, with jobs that sit unclaimed in queues until someone desperate enough says yes. I know that Maria Rue has been standing at that roadside for 58 years in a yellow dress, in the rain, saying the same thing to every set of headlights that comes toward her. "Turn around." And I know that she said Saifo's name. She was there. She tried. It doesn't fix it. It doesn't change what I did, what I failed to do, what I've been punishing myself for since the night I called him and said, "I can't make this run. Take it for me." Nothing changes that, but it changes something. She tried. So did he, maybe. Maybe he heard her and thought it through and decided, like I almost decided, that there was nothing left worth protecting. Maybe he rode forward because he was Saifo and he always thought it would be fine. I've stopped overriding myself. Not all at once. It's not a switch. But I tapped the fuel tank on a job last week, and I actually stopped and thought about why, instead of pushing through it. It's his habit. It always was. He left it with me. There are roads that don't care why you're on them, and there are the ones who've been walking those roads for decades, trying to reach you before the dark does. The question isn't whether you trust them. The question is whether you've been quiet long enough to hear your own name.